You're doing incredible work. Your clients love their images. But when it comes to getting referrals, you're sitting around waiting for the phone to ring and it's just not happening. Here's what most photographers get wrong. They think asking for referrals is awkward or pushy, so they just don't. But the truth is, to be referable, you first need to be doing things that are gush-worthy at every single touch point, not just your photography. And then second, I'm going to share with you a simple system that will help you consistently generate referrals without feeling pushy or desperate. Hey, I'm Sarah Petty, founder of the Photography Business Institute, and I've built most of my business on referrals. I've also helped over 33,000 portrait photographers do the same. My students have generated millions in revenue using these exact strategies. Today, I'm breaking down referral mistakes that are costing you business. I'm introducing you to a concept I learned that changed everything for me, and I'm going to show you exactly how to ask for referrals in a way that feels natural and elegant. By the end of this video, you'll know how to up your gush-worthiness and then turn every client interaction into a referral opportunity. And get this, how to get referrals from people who never even book you themselves. Let's start with the biggest myth about referrals, because I know it's easy to think, well, if I just do great work, referrals will just happen naturally. Now listen, to an extent, this isn't a bad concept. If you're getting 0 organic referrals, something is definitely wrong. But here's what most photographers miss. To generate referrals, it's not just about being a really great photographer. You've got to do things in your business that are gush-worthy at multiple touch points, not just with your photography. If everything you do is vanilla, think Chat GPT, the only reason you'll get referred is because you're cheap. And that's a problem because price-driven clients don't care about extra value. They're only buying on price, and then they refer you to their price-sensitive friends. Then you're going down the wrong road faster, playing whack-a-mole with your time, likely stuck on that never-ending hamster wheel. So what makes something gush-worthy? Let me show you. First off, your products need to be gush-worthy. Listen, when I started, I offered hand-painted frames that were insanely cool. I would create my local displays that were hanging around town using these, and people would freak out over them. The ironic part is that many of the clients would come in and we'd go through the whole process, and they'd end up wanting to stretch their budget and buy more, so they wouldn't upgrade to the custom framing. They would just go with the included frame, which was so funny to me. The takeaway, if you're doing a display and you're going to the trouble of building a relationship with someone who owns a high-profile location and they're going to display your artwork, don't just use a vanilla image in a vanilla frame. Pick something that is your coolest work and find a stroll-stopping way to present it. We want people who are walking by it to stop and pay attention to what it is and who did it. For example, in my lobby, I have a giant canvas of a little boy. He's like 5 years old, riding on a dinosaur. This was a small little dinosaur at a local amusement park, but we photographed him from kind of below, and it looks like he's riding this giant dinosaur, woo, swinging his hand up in the air, and it has so much impact. People will see it and they will remember it. Your marketing pieces need to be gush-worthy. Look, I worked at an ad agency for years, so I've been able to take the skills and strategies that I learned there to create dynamic marketing and promotional pieces that pop and twist and do all the things. Here's a record that comes out. But these are marketing pieces that make people say, whoa. Listen, I ran into a client one year in the summer. It was hot July. She came running across the park, holding her purse up, and she pulls one of my biggest marketing pieces out. And she told me she'd been showing it to everyone in July, which means she'd been doing it for 6 months. She was a labor and delivery nurse. So she's working with my ideal target audience, showing them my marketing piece. How amazing is that? I had a family tell me that when their grandma passed, they were cleaning out her home and they found a drawer by the TV with only our Christmas cards in them. Every single one that we'd sent, because they're always gush-worthy. So she saved them. That's gush-worthy marketing. And yes, my Christmas card is a marketing piece, because I send a high quality piece that shows off my photography to everyone I know. And by the way, the best part is that your Christmas card is tax deductible. Next, your packaging needs to be gush-worthy. I decided to create gush-worthy packaging very early on because I realized that all of my larger printed pieces all left framed or canvassed and ready to hang on the wall. And so the only thing people were getting to take home with them were small prints like 5x7s and 8x10s. Back in the day, I was giving everyone printed proofs, and those printed proofs brought me so many referrals. So by creating Gushworthy packaging, it helped me generate those referrals from people because it gave them something to gush on me with. As you can see, I put this little image from this session right here in this little pocket. It's got my logo and my tagline is on the print. Here is a super funny story. I had several clients come to me and I would ask them where they came from. And they would say, well, I was at this local pool. We call it a yacht club, but let's face it, I'm in central Illinois. We don't have yachts. We do have a small man-made lake. However, this pool is where a lot of women hang out in the summer. And so a client of mine was walking around with my packaging, showing it to strangers. They came to me and they didn't even know her name. They're just like some lady was bringing her pictures to the pool. Who does that? Someone who's genuinely excited about what they've invested in. So make sure you're putting attention into packaging that allows people to talk about you. Now, let's talk about the process of how you hold your clients' hands to create gorgeous, gush-worthy artwork. This is huge. Your process needs to be gush-worthy. Listen, I get it. Some of you maybe who are listening, you don't want to spend time with clients out of fear because you're afraid of rejection or embarrassment or whatever. So you continue to overshoot, over-retouch, over-edit, and overwork for nothing. People aren't buying from you. And you're missing the referability that comes with helping the client get an amazing giant piece of artwork on their walls. Everybody who comes to their house will see that. Listen, in my process, I have 5 times that I meet with my clients to talk about that step and make sure they're clear with what happens in the next step. So everything just unfolds so easy for them. They're not nervous to make a mistake. However, if you put up an online gallery with all of their images for them to pick is what does not serve them. They get decision fatigue, they second guess themselves, and they don't order. And that's not going to get you a referral, my friend. For us to have a system and a process worth our clients talking about and gushing to others about, we have to make it super easy for the client. And that means taking away their fear of making a mistake. Most people have had trouble in their past picking images or gosh, have you ever bought something framed and you get it home and you're like, oh, I hate the frame or it doesn't look good or the size isn't right. So I wanted to start there first because now that you're doing gush-worthy work, you will get more organic referrals. And yes, organic referrals are great, but I also want you to be intentional about generating even more of them. I'm going to share this simple system with you because this is where most photographers drop the ball. These 6 little letters are going to change everything for you. We call it BAMFAM, BAMFAM. Book a meetup from a meetup. This is a concept I learned from Alex Hormozi, and it changed everything for me. I have taken his system and adapted it and tweaked it and changed it a little bit to be specific to portrait photographers. But here's the key. We want to use this referral strategy with every interaction with a client, with a prospect, and yes, anyone we talk to. Could even be someone who's never been a client. The philosophy is book a meetup from a meetup. So you never leave any meeting or meetup or sitting on the bleachers with someone at soccer or a networking group or whatever it is without asking for a referral. So listen, it's a referral strategy in the traditional sense, but also it's a strategy that increases the lifetime value of your current clients and get this, turns wrong fit clients into referrals. I know you're going to think it's so crazy. Just stick with me here because I want to show you exactly what this looks like in your real life business. By the way, if you like this kind of thing and you want more insights like this, make sure to subscribe to my free weekly newsletter where I share the exact strategies like this that my students are using to build six-figure photography businesses and love their life. I'll stick the link in the description. First, let's talk about BAMFAM in action with current clients. Strategy number one is with every client, I want you to book their next session at the end of this session. Get this. I think the best referral strategy starts with rebooking the same client for their next need. My goal is at the end of every session, I don't just say, hey, see you again someday. I book them again. So you might be saying, well, how do you do that, Sarah? So what I've done is I've created an ideal purchase path that I educate all of my clients on. For example, because I love photographing new babies, when I get a new baby client, I teach the parents all of the ideal times to come to work with me, like for this child's forever life. I kind of joke, but not really. And I have it mapped out of all the different sessions that I like to photograph. And I even tell them, listen, you come to me for the special times in life. And don't feel bad if you use other photographers for parties or events. In fact, I think you should be capturing everything you do every day in life, which is why you have a camera in your pocket as well, right? And I want you to think about this because I think this is a nuance that a lot of photographers don't think about. I think there's this scarcity mindset a little bit of like, I don't ever want them going to someone else. But I think of my photography business like a nice restaurant. So think about the restaurant when it's someone's birthday and you want to go to that really special restaurant that maybe it costs more. It's a little harder to get in. It's going to be a long evening, but you want it to be really special, right? That's when I want people to come to me. Of course, those same people are getting fast food. They're making their own food with the groceries at the grocery store. But I want people to look at me as the person they come to when they have certain life stages that are worth capturing and celebrating with wall portraits. I don't want to be all things to all people. I want to be the one they come to when they're ready for beautiful artwork to decorate their home. My job is to educate them about the products that go with each stage of life that I love to create for them. Let me give you an example, and then you can take it and customize it to what you love to photograph. But from the first session with the new baby, I like to photograph what I call a baby study. And I do this within the first couple months. It doesn't have to be a brand new baby. It could be a 3-4 month old baby when they're getting a little juicier. But I photograph their little fingers and their little toes and their belly and their little nose, their little edge of their cheek, all of their little pieces and parts. And we call it a baby study. And I love this in a frame that's about this big. That's how I talk to my clients. I don't use numbers. I sort of shape it for them. And I also love a more formal portrait. Usually I photograph it from the side of a parent holding the baby. We have the contrast between dad's big hands, let's say, and little baby. And those are the two products that I love for them to invest in with that new baby. And then I explain what a lot of my clients like at 6 months, which for me, one of the main portraits I get at 6 months is like a big, bright canvas, because I like to put the baby in more colorful clothing and they're usually a little juicier at that point. They're sitting up. I like to do a more formal portrait at a year. I have certain things I do at 18 months and maybe they're having a second baby at that time. We do some random things. And then really important for me is to get that formal portrait when they still have their little baby teeth. Because think about it. That's the oldest they'll be when they're still a little human. Once we lose our baby teeth, our big adult teeth come in, sometimes not so cute, but we look like a completely different person. We're turning into an adult. I literally had a client call me one day and she was yelling at her son in the back seat saying, put it back, because his tooth came out. She was telling him to put it back. I was like, oh my goodness, that was very literal. And I take the responsibility at the end of this session to let them know what I think they need next as the expert and the person who wants them to have this beautiful artwork in their home. I also might ask questions like, do you have any extended family coming in town over the holidays? Because I'm thinking, big extended family. All of my clients are going to be needing that every few years. Do you have grandparents still around? Like maybe a generational portrait would be a great gift. Do you have any pets? Maybe they have an aging pet that I might suggest, hey, you know what? If that's your kid's pet that they've grown up with, you might consider a session and some artwork with that pet. And they'll be like, oh my gosh, let's book it right now, right? Just by helping them solve the next problem that they're going to have. And I just throw out the idea. I ask them how they feel about it. Sometimes they'll say, oh, well, we don't have any grandparents. It's just the four of us or whatever. But if they say they love the idea, which they usually do, I'll say, hey, I'm going to reach out, at whatever date to get it scheduled. Does that sound cool? And they'll say, oh my gosh, that would be great. And then of course I write it down and I immediately go put it on my calendar. Sometimes when I do high school senior portraits, the next time they're going to be in is 2 years from now when the next child is going to be a high school senior. And so we literally will jump the calendar 2 years and reach out to them. Why does this work? It works because I feel like it's my responsibility to reach out to them. Think about your veterinarian. If you're there with your little dog or your little cat and they say, okay, little Fluffy needs another round of shots in 18 months to keep him or her healthy. Would you like me to reach out and remind you? What are you going to say? Oh my gosh, I would love that. That would help me so much, right? There's nothing pushy or salesy about that. You're serving them. Strategy 2 is you're also going to ask that client for a referral, but you're going to do it at the right time. Of course, I want those clients coming back, but I also want their friends and family coming to me. My gosh, when you get a really great client and they love you and you love them, don't you want to get their referral? They come to you, they love you, they gush on you, and they invest thousands. Why wouldn't you want their friends to come to you? I had a fear of referrals. I hated asking for them early on. And then I would see people ask in such a yucky, desperate way, like, oh my gosh, I have an empty calendar. I just need sessions. Do you know anyone? Right? That devalues you and it makes you look desperate. It makes you look cheap. It makes you look like no one's coming to you. And even if that is the case, that's not how you want to show up, okay? Because you just thrilled this client and they likely have friends that would love to be thrilled just like you thrilled them. There are different times I bring up a referral with my clients throughout the process, but my favorite time is when they're picking up their artwork. Here's why. It's likely been a few weeks since they placed their order and they're coming in to pick up and to decide on frames. And they might be nervous seeing them, wondering, oh my gosh, I invested so much. I hope I made the right decision. And then they come in and I've got this beautiful bag waiting for them. And I show them this, and then I pull out their artwork and I show them the large things. And they are in such an emotionally high place. Some cry, they freak out, they get excited. It puts them right back into the emotional place they were when they made the decision. So this is such an easy time to say, oh my gosh, Julie, I have loved working with you so much. I am curious because I've grown my entire business by my awesome clients referring me. Do you have any friends who might also like this experience and this custom artwork? See how easy that is? That didn't sound yucky. Sometimes you just give them space to think about it, like, And if they say, oh my gosh, my sister-in-law would be freaking out to come here, I might say, would you shoot a text intro to us, or are you going to see her soon? I typically don't get super aggressive, like handing them my phone and saying, type in every friend you know's phone number right now, right? Because it is a big purchase decision. But even by asking for it and educating them on how much it means to me and how grateful I am for referrals, it keeps that in the top of their mind so that they can be sending me referrals down the road. I also make sure at this time to plant seeds for future referrals. So maybe they say, oh gosh, my brain just can't think of anybody right now. I say, hey, listen, people are going to be coming to your home and they're going to comment on this artwork. Some people might not even notice it, but there are going to be those people that are like, that is the coolest thing ever. So for those people, I would love it if you would send an introduction or encourage them to come to me. And I always reassure them, listen, it's so important to me when you refer me that I create completely different artwork for your friends. So don't worry, I won't take them to the top secret location where we went. And then we giggle and they're like, great. And then literally That happens. Someone comes in, gushes on their artwork, and they tell them to call me, and they do. Pretty cool, huh? All right, listen, I've given you 2 ways to use BAMFAM with your current clients. One is to schedule their next session, and the second is to ask for a referral when they are in a peak happiness state. Now, here's where it gets really interesting because I'm gonna show you how to get referrals from people who never even book you themselves. Here's BAMFAM in action with non-clients. Let me paint you a scenario, okay? You're sitting at a sporting event, watching your little kids play, and you're chatting with another parent who seems completely uninterested in what you do, and you strike up a conversation with another parent. You ask them what they do for a living, and they ask you what you do, and so you're starting to tell them what you do. And this is why it's so important to be able to articulate what you do differently. You do wall portraits. You help people decorate their homes with emotionally jam-packed images that give them goosebumps every time they look at them, or whatever your different is, okay? I get it. If you're a little overwhelmed right now, that's completely normal. In my programs, we literally role play this over and over with our students to really get it down. So just know, if you don't know how to have these conversations and turn a prospect into a client, that's your skill gap and where you need to grow your skills. But here's what I say. I'll go through what makes me different. And maybe they're like, I just never liked photography. That's cool. They're not going to be my client. But I can say, hey, I'm just curious. Now that you see how I'm different from digital file photographers, and I love working with people who have creative ideas to decorate their home, do you know anyone who might be interested in this? Like maybe you know someone who has a little girl in dance class. Like I just picture the classic ballerina in black and white in a just gallery looking large frame hanging in this girl's room and then going in her office someday when she's running a company. Maybe you know someone who has a teenager who's feeling bad about herself or himself, and they'd love to do an empowerment session where we create artwork, whether it's on the wall or an album that they can look through and look at every day and feel so loved. Friend, you'd be amazed at how you can get a referral from someone who isn't a fit for you because they understand who is a fit for you. Say you're single and you're dating and you tell your friends, I've got to have a mate who travels the world. That's what I'm looking for. They want to help you find a mate who travels the world. So when you tell them what you do differently, they're way more likely to refer you to someone who might like what you do. Why not use these conversation skills that you have to generate referrals everywhere you go? You don't even need a marketing budget if you can do that, because this one strategy just makes your marketing engine keep going. BAMFAM. So why does this BAMFAM system work so well? Here's the thing. It takes so much work to get a brand new client, to attract them, to educate them. It only makes sense to keep them coming back and to keep generating referrals to people who are like them. Think about it. If your best client has giant wall portraits all over their home and their friend comes in and loves it and calls you, it's been normalized that they'll come to you and buy large wall portraits, which is what they're going to do, which makes price even more irrelevant. That's the beauty of referrals. They've seen the products in person. They understand the investment. They're really pre-sold before they even call you. And I figure once you are practicing this and you're getting good at these conversation skills, why not use them to get referrals from non-clients? When you get good at articulating what makes you different, because you do have something, don't tell me you don't, and you're clear on who your ideal clients are and what you can do for them, anyone can refer you. Think about it. Likely everyone you meet knows somebody who might like the experience that you offer. May not be them, but they know somebody. My friend, I challenge you to implement BAMFAM in your business and watch your revenue and your happiness grow. And listen, you heard me mention my Gushworthy marketing pieces earlier, like Christmas cards, etc. The ones that my client's grandma saved in the drawer by the TV, or the marketing piece that was still in my client's purse in July. Those weren't accidents. It's what I call dog whistle marketing because it attracts right fit clients to you. And seriously, it's the most powerful strategy I've ever used to attract premium clients while spending less on marketing than my competitors. In my next video, I'm breaking down this exact marketing trick that attracts clients who want to invest thousands of dollars per session with you. So you'll learn how to create these promotional pieces that immediately identify your ideal clients and position you as the premium choice in your market. You don't want to miss this one because nobody knows how to do this.